Good morning, baseball fans, and welcome back to Dan's Vintage Baseball PC. Do not be fooled by that fancy name. It's just me and some friends talking about baseball cards. And today, it's just me, a lot of friends, but they were this weekend. It's Monday morning. I am back from Boston, back from the Shriner Show. Spent parts of 3 days in Boston. Honestly, absolutely perfect trip. Nothing went wrong. And indeed, the show was a success all around. Um, but this channel is all about friends, and the Shriner Show for me was a big deal because there are a lot of friends there, and I'll show you who we got here. Um, this is a big picture taken Saturday afternoon, maybe right around noon. On the left is a gentleman I don't know that well. I believe his name is Boston Fan on YouTube, and I did recently subscribe to him. To his left, in the light blue shirt, the Philly shirt is, of course, the great John Keating from that 70s card show. Jake O'Donnell is next to him from Wax Pack Wisdom. Jake, I had never met before. I've interacted with him a bunch of times on Twitter and YouTube. But there he is, and he had quite a special show himself. In the center, the tall gentleman is, of course, Sammy Thunder. Sammy hosted a live stream last night with several people from this picture about the Shriner Show, and it was one of my favorite live streams that I've been on because it was just really well organized and well done, and a lot of people with some great stories. That is Dom from Staven Sports Cards in the front area, and really happy to have had an opportunity to walk the show a little bit with Dom and sit and talk with him and go over some of his great pickups. He picked up this fabulous full box 71 Milk Duds of Ernie Banks. And I had met Dom at the National, but the National is hundreds of YouTubers, but this was a nice opportunity to sit and talk with him and walk around and see what kind of an eye he had. And of course he picked up some wonderful items. Over my right shoulder is, of course, Mike Junk Wax Hero. And Mike had some great pickups. I would tell you that it would be a great thing to go Mike's video, also go to John Keating's video, and Sammy's video for rundowns of this Shriner Show. That's me in the blue jacket and the silly face. On my left, with the Babe 3 shirt, is, of course, the great Mark Hoyle. Mark is kind of the star of this show, not only because he had the most knowledge of it and the most experience of it, but he also came bearing gifts for everyone. And one of the great gifts that I got from Mark was getting picked up at the place we were staying downtown Boston and driven to the show, driven to another location after the show, and we'll get into that, and then driven back after the show. So obviously, kudos to the great Mark Hoyle for all the wonderful things he did, not only for me, but everybody else. And in terms of the gifts, so I got picked up at 8:20 in the morning in downtown Boston, the Back Bay area, and jumped into Mark's truck, and there waiting for me was a gift pack with these items. Really cool stuff. The top left is a photograph, a card that was released in '79, but it's a photograph of the Red Sox staff in the 30s with Lefty Grove is in there and Wes Ferrell. And just a fabulous photo. I believe Mark showed that on the Lefty Grove show we did a few weeks ago. Bottom left is, of course, Dom DiMaggio and Jimmy Fox and Ted Williams in another fantastic photo, which would date likely maybe late 40s. No, have to be early 40s. In the middle is the all-time greats. This is a postcard size of Jimmy Fox. This set is a set that I owned as a kid in the smaller versions, but it's a TCMA issue from probably 72, 73, and great to have the Jimmy Fox on that. Bottom right is, of course, Elson Howard in a catching pose. Of course, he's set up left-handed, so I'm assuming that's a reverse negative. And the upper right is a guy I didn't know, Charlie Cozart, played with the Boston Braves in 1945, and that was the only year he played. So I did a little, research into Charlie and found out that he played 1 year of minor ball in '44, played for the Braves in '45, and then played one more year of minor league ball in 1946, and then went back to his hometown and became the sheriff and lived into his 80s. His hometown is Lenoir, North Carolina, a town I didn't know much about, but did a little reading up on it. And Lenoir, Charlie is not the most famous baseball player from Lenoir, North Carolina. That would be World Series hero and Giants ace Madison Bumgarner was from Lenoir. And also found out that in the recent hurricane and flood, Lenoir actually got hit kind of hard. So my thoughts out to that town, the hometown of the gentleman who signed that card. So we also met up with several people here. One is, of course, John Keating's card is up there. Matt from Providence is a dealer that I've known from Twitter for years, and he set up and was quite popular with the YouTubers because he was had a great selection of cards and was making good deals with everybody. And I would implore you to go to Wax Pack Wisdom's 2 videos from this show, one of which he shows some cards that he purchased from Matt from Providence. Terrific cards. In the middle is Phil Castanelli's Sportsworld. We'll get into that a little bit. On the right is Sammy Thunder, of course. Thanks again for the live stream last night, Sammy. And upper right is a dealer that I met at the show in Strongsville in April. He sold me the what's his name? The catcher for the Senators, a Zenut card. And he remembered me because he had seen my show. And then we met up, I approached his table and we talked a little bit, and he, said, you purchased a card from me and I know your show. And so I ended up purchasing a couple of really nice and really reasonably priced pre-war cards. So Ed Hands will be at Strongsville. He is from Buffalo, so he's a lot closer to Cleveland than he is to Boston. But he ended up selling me a couple of really nice cards at really good value. And I would encourage you, if you do have an opportunity to see Ed's selection at any show, particularly in Strongsville, great selection of pre-war, and nice gentleman, and really happy to have gotten his card so that I know who he is. So we did pretty well. But before we get to my stuff, there were some photographs from, as you can see, Type 1s. These are fantastic high-end photos. Jackie Robinson upper left, Ty Cobb bottom left, Ty Cobb and Tris Speaker bottom right, and the upper right is Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig with Jimmy Fox in a Philadelphia A's uniform, and also Al Simmons. And the same booth had this Ty Cobb photo, of course, Babe Ruth photo, and then on the far right is the Mickey Mantle photo of him flying into the stands to try to catch a ball. That was used, or that play was used as the backdrop on his 1956 Topps card, where the artist took some liberties and put the ball in his mid. And even though you can see from this one, it's about 5 feet over his head, or not 5 feet, a couple feet over his head. But I was told that this is not the actual photo that was used. It's an alternate angle of that exact play. So pretty cool there. And I should mention that all of these photos are going to be available in the Love the Game auction coming up, I think, in a couple of weeks. Andy Aronstein was there from Love the Game. Andy's a great guy. I've dealt with him in many respects, dealing with my participation in Love the Game auctions. Andy Aronstein is the son of TCMA. His father actually did all those TCMA cards, and still with us. Mr. Aronstein is retired and living in Arizona, and apparently had a little bit of a health issue, but now he's doing fairly well, and good to hear. So it's nice to catch up with Andy and check out the Love of the Game setup. So a few other things. On the left is the Rose and Company postcards. Extremely rare postcards that I didn't really know that much about. I believe it was a heritage auction had a Cy Young from this set sell for mid 6 digits, 3 or 4 or whatever, $100,000. And I just watched a video. It's Leighton Sheldon has the podcast, which vintage spotlight. And so he showed off that Cy Young and said, you never see these in the wild. And then the next show I go to, I see in the wild. So I texted Leighton a picture of this and thought it was kind of cool that the Rose and Company stuff was still out there. These are not Hall of Famers, but from that difficult set. On the far right, of course, is the Eddie Wakis card. I had sent a copy of this to Alex Bowman 53, and he showed it off on his live stream last night. I was thinking of buying this, but I don't know, a 2 for $125. I don't know. That's a little bit much. So I did not actually pull the trigger on this Eddie Wakis card. Drake's cards are hard to get, and I have one of them, and I don't think I really needed to buy this one. So also autographs, I did get one. There were a bunch of Boston people there, Rico Petrocelli and Tim Thomas, the goalie for the Bruins, and this gentleman, Reggie Smith, great slugger from the 67 Impossible Dream team, but also played for the Dodgers in the World Series in 77 and 78. Reggie Smith looked to be in fine shape, friendly man, signed a bunch of material. He had a very long line. In fact, Dom and myself and Mark Hoyle had to get on the line, and the guy said, just get your stuff out and move because he's got to get a flight. I believe Reggie Smith lives on the West Coast, and word was that this was going to be his last public signing. And so I'm happy that he's signing right in that picture, my 1970 Topps card. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, there's my the money shot of what I got at this show. Very happy to have gotten a bunch of material that I rarely ever see before, and indeed, nothing high end, but a bunch of really cool stuff. So let me start going through it a little bit. I think the most expensive card that I purchased was this, a 1976 Topps All-Star of Julius Erving. These are tall boys. They're also little wide boys. 1970 Topps, 76 Topps. The basketball is really like the last great set of the 70s. There's a lot of Hall of Famers in it. It is the big cards, but by the late 70s, the NBA had kind of fallen off a little bit. But this set has a couple of Julius Erving cards, and obviously Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There's still, like, some of the Knicks guys are still around, and at this point I figured it is a 7. Gorgeous card, centered perfectly, and it's a great ABA Dr. J in the Nets uniform shot, so couldn't pass it up. It was priced at $50, and I got it for $40, so pretty happy with that. The next card that I want to talk about is another card that was priced ridiculously low. There was a gentleman in the back right in the room who had a handful of signed 53 Bowman cards. This is Ned Garver, who was on Detroit by the time this picture was taken, but he had been on the St. Louis Browns. He won 20 games one year when the Browns won about 50 games. So one of those guys like Steve Cartland, 72, who won like a majority of the team's games. Anyway, so he had the dealer had a bunch of signed 53s, and as you can see, this is an SGC label. SGC doesn't certify autographs anymore, but they did for this one. And so I picked up the lot and looked at them, and I need the Ned Garver for my 53 Bowman slab set build. And I saw this, and I was like, a nice signature on his arm, which is kind of funny. I wonder what the price is on this. I was expecting like 100, 125. I flipped it over. $25, so I didn't even negotiate. Picked that one up pretty quickly. Let me show the two cards that I got from Ed Hans. This is the Colgan's Chips. This is the regular Colgan Chips. It's not the tin top. Harry Steinfeld, of course, was the third baseman for the Tinkers to Evers Chance team. I got this in a 2. It's a really nice, as you can see, really, the front is fantastic. It's not creased at all. There's some schmutzy stuff on the back, which I don't care about. So the grade of a 2 is kind of for back issues. The front is really, really nice. And this was a grand total of $40. I didn't even try to negotiate. Earlier, when I was walking the floor with Dom, I ended up stopping at his table. I got the Seinfeld later on in the show. But this one is from the 1914 Braves build This is J. Carlisle Smith, otherwise known as Red Smith. Red Smith was a third baseman for Brooklyn for a number of years, pretty solid player, but was picked up by the Braves mid-season in 14 and was a big part of the reason why they made that surge to win the pennant and ultimately win the World Series in 4 games. Red Smith, though, broke his leg on the last game of the season and did not end up playing in the World Series. Very similar to Jeff Heath with the 48 Braves, who broke his ankle in the last week of the season and didn't play in the World Series. But so this card, as you can see, it's the M1015, blank back, really nicely centered, pretty sharp. I'm submitting this to SGC. I'm thinking this is like a 4, and in this this year, 1916 is this card. Getting a 4 on this would be a very high grade, and of course would go right into my 1914 Braves collection. Here's the Reggie Smith card from the signature. The signature is gorgeous, but very happy to get this into my 1970 Topps Auto build. Reggie is one of the few gentlemen from that set still alive that I have not gotten an autograph from, so happy to get Reggie on what appears to maybe be his last signing. Sorry if that noise you hear is a jackhammer outside of our building in this direction where they are doing some construction. So if the jackhammer bothers you, I'm sorry about that. But there was a gentleman in the back of the room who was doing a lot of, and we talked about this in a live stream last night. He has a lot of like those picture pack sets, team sets, team issues, and I walked over and I saw this, and this was in the front of a complete set of the 1976 Baltimore Orioles postcard set, and I was about to buy the whole set, and he said, if you're looking for the Reggie, I have just the Reggie. So he had just the Reggie, so I bought the Reggie. I know PSA grades these. I checked this morning, and SGC also grades this. So this is going to go off to SGC. Reggie in an Orioles uniform in a rare team issue. I think there may be a dozen graded examples of this card. So $20 later, I had a great part of building my Reggie PC. He also had this set. I had purchased off of Love of the Game in March of 2023. The 1970 La Pizza Royale Montreal Expos green complete set. Now, this comes in 4 different colors. The green, as you can see, is rusty. Is okay, not great. But the blue, which is what I bought at Shriner Show, is a really nice color. And this is the complete set, 14 cards. It is 1970. I made a mistake last night saying that the sticker was wrong. It was really 71. But I went back. A lot of mislabeling of this set as 71, but it's 70, and I realized it's 70 because Love of the Game doesn't get these things wrong, and they have 70 La Pizza Royale on this green set, and now I have the blue. Yellow, he had the yellow, but honestly, the yellow was not very attractive. It was really like just a lot of yellow and very little like of the graphics, so it didn't look great. So I just went with the blue. I think this cost me $40. I know when I bought this, Love of the Game, it cost me a lot more than 40. Got a few other tidbits here and there. Let me go over some. We'll go over these things here. Postcards. Back in the room, there's a whole row of dealers that are guys that only do this show. They're elderly gentlemen with collections that are not particularly well organized. Nothing is slabbed. But they all have this stuff that if you dig through, you're going to find these little gold mines. I got this for $20. This is the Dorman postcard, 53 to 55 of Allie Reynolds. And look at that photograph. Oh, my God, that is terrific. I'm going to be sending this one into SGC also just to get it in the tux, or it's going to also look terrific. The Yankees in the background. And Allie Reynolds there looking like he's about to strike somebody out. This one is a postcard. I don't have dates on these, but I have the name of the postcard, which is the M. Abrams in Roxbury, Mass. This is Boston Braves field, and that building in the middle, which is great, still exists. It is it's now the Boston University police station on the West Campus. And behind it, of course, is what's known as Nickerson Field, which was Braves Field. And I got that postcard for $20. And I got this one for $20. This is a postcard. This dates to like First World War I era Boston Braves. Largest ball ground in the world, which it may have been for a while, but it wasn't by the 30s and 40s. So another postcard, missing a little corner, but honestly, for $20, no brainer. Got a nice Braves pin, also $20 from that back area. I did manage to get a 52 tops, Phil Macy in a 3.5. I don't know what this cost me. I think it was less than $20. I think it was about $15. Phil Macy he's on Chicago in this, but he was the catcher for the 48 Braves. And I have his tip top and his what's called his rookie card, which came out 10 years after he debuted, the 49 Bowman. Got his 50 Bowman, and I think I might have another card, but this is the 52 tops, Phil Macy. One more card from, I think that's it for cards, except for this last one. So I did get to Matt from Providence's table at one point. I went back later on to try to talk to him, but he had left because he had to work, and I talked to another guy. I believe Tim was next to him, who was also a really good dealer. We weren't able to make a deal. He had some of those Fatima or Fatima team postcards from pre-war, and but I didn't end up pulling the trigger on them. But Matt from Providence had a nice setup of really good boxes of vintage slabs. So I had been looking at this card about, I don't know, 10 minutes earlier, like down the row, the same row as Matt, down the row, and it was like a 5 for like $120. And I thought that was a little high, so I was like, I'm not going to get that. So I come by, and Matt from Providence has this one in a 6 for $65, which I ended up paying $60 for. So I paid half the money for a higher grade card of this 1963 Fleer Warren Spahn. A little off center, but the corners are sharp as heck. And this deserves a 6. And it is a nice picture of Warren Spahn, who by 63 was starting to look a little elderly, to the point where you get my least favorite baseball card, his 1965 tops, where he looks like a grandpa who just wandered out onto the field. So that was the show. No huge pickups, no biggies, no 4-digit cards, but just a lot of fun stuff and some rare stuff that you never see before. So that's really the reason that you go to a show like Shriners and travel up, a few states away, is to see dealers you never see anywhere else, which is absolutely the case at Shriners. You get not only those gentlemen who are elderly and only set up once a year, but you also get guys coming down from Maine who aren't going to go any further south. So I saw a lot of guys that I've never seen before. Of course, there was the standard dealers from the shows that you see in Philly and that you see in White Plains and some even in Strongsville. But for the most part, it was really a nice opportunity to get material that I wouldn't see otherwise. So after the show, John Keating and Mark Hoyle and I all went to a store. Let me go back to these. So those are my gets, but this is the store. It is called Phil and somebody's sports collector's Sportsworld. Phil Castanelli is the name. I gave you showed you his card earlier. Phil was sick; he was not there, but there's like 5 guys working in this shop, and they were super helpful and nice, and helped. In fact, negotiating a deal for John Keating to get a really important set for him that he talks about on his channel. They called up Phil and they negotiated and showed pictures, and he got a really nice deal on it. I happened to get a really nice deal on a couple of items too. Mark Hoyle had gone in there like last week to tell them that we were coming through and to try to bring out some stuff that might be in my wheelhouse, which was extremely nice for him to do and for the place to do, which they did in fact bring out items, and I bought one of them. Pay attention to that car in the bottom left there. I'll be back to that in a second. But this is what I ended up getting. from Sportsworld. It's in Saugus. It's right on Route 1 in Saugus. Really easy to get to, right off of 93, and then you get onto 1, and then you're there. So 1974 Yankees yearbook. What's cool about this is, of course, the cartoon but the cartoon likeness of both Thurman Munson and Bobby Mercer, two of my PC guys. Also, the 74 Yankees are interesting because they really had a great run. They were in first place in August and September. They were back and forth with the Orioles. They just couldn't push it past the finish line, and they finished 2 games out. The 74 Yankees also didn't play in Yankee Stadium. They played in Shea Stadium for 74 and 75. And part of the reason that Mercer got traded after the 74 season to the Giants for Bobby Bonds was because his power fell off. When he left Yankee Stadium and he went to Shea Stadium in 1974, Bobby Mercer only hit 10 home runs. His batting average was good, his RBIs were good, but his power was way down. So that affected the season a little bit. But the nice thing about it is there's a free LP record inside. That's like, John Keating and I are both music guys, so we found this rather funny, the free LP record inside. Which has something about Yankee Stadium, the sounds of a half century. So I'm not going to open this up, nor am I ever going to play the free LP record inside. It's in nice plastic, and it's in really, really nice shape, and this cost me all of $20. So great get there. The other one, and the last one I'll be showing, is this. We'll go back to the photo for a second. That's a little easier to see. It's the 1949, not 48, but 49 Boston Braves. This is their yearbook. It says underneath Braves, National League Champions, and it's got the big scoreboard, couple of artistic renderings of outfielders running for balls. It's really great little bit of graphics here on the front of this. And it is openable. It's in this magazine top loader, and I did go through it. It's not in as good a shape. You can see the fold right down the middle there. Not as good a shape as the 74 Yankees, but also cost me $20. They did have a 48 World Series program, the Braves edition. I showed recently the Cleveland edition of the 48 World Series program, but the condition was just something I couldn't get through it. There were things falling off and paper falling off, and none of the covers were detached, and it was a bit of a mess. So I didn't pull the trigger on that one, and it was priced significantly higher than these two. So I got both of these for $20 each, and really happy about that. I did say take a look at the car here. I love this. I don't even know the year on this. It's early 70s. I thought it was the Eldorado, but it's a Cadillac Cordoba. And if you recall the 1970s Cadillac Cordoba commercials with Ricardo Montalban talking about the Corinthian leather. So we had a good laugh, a bunch of old guys walking by a car from their youth, having some fun, and laughing about some old memories, which of course is what this is all about, this hobby. My friend Greg at Midlife Cards likes to talk about the hobby being about the people. And the Shriner Show, as you saw, I got some great cards and other items, but it really was more just about the people, and just wonderful experience, and really happy to have gone. The next Shriner Show is in April. It's run by a different promoter, and it is on the same exact weekend as the Strongsville show, which I'm already going to and already committed to going to. So I'm told they're adding a Shriner Show in June by the same promoter as the April, but I don't know if I'll be making that. So I expect my next Shriner Show will be next year in November, a year from now, and looking forward to it, of course. So thanks for tuning in. Special show next week. I'm doing the Carl Yastrzemski show. It's a live stream. It will feature 3 great collectors, all of whom were in that photo. And we took a photo with just the 4 of us for my thumbnail. It's going to be on Sunday night at 7 o'clock. It'll run for an hour, and then we'll lead right into Alex Moment 53's live stream, which, of course, will then lead into the 4 collectors live stream. So 7 o'clock on Sunday, live stream. Yaz Yastrzemski, 3 great collectors. I have a little bit of a collection, but this is more about these guys. Great friends, great members of the hobby community, and really looking forward to that. Have a show the following Saturday, Super Collector. Following Saturday after that, Set Super Collector. So great things are happening with the channel. I'm really looking forward to what's coming up. And of course, I'll be at the Philly show, which is in December 13th, I believe is the Saturday. Have a guest close to being confirmed for the before that, which is another special guest. So Shriner Show, great experience. Happy to be back, but happy to have had the opportunity to meet up with some great people and get some great cards. So see you next Sunday.